What's up, football fans? Welcome back to my channel where I talk about anything and everything football related. Today I want to discuss Dalvin Cook being released from the Minnesota Vikings and where he could potentially end up next season. The Minnesota Vikings have seen a switch in their offensive identity over the past few seasons and have slowly phased out their star running back. Over the past 3 seasons, Cook's yards per game has dropped from 111 to 89, then just 69 yards per game last year. That mark would be the second lowest in Dalvin Cook's 6-year career. It's no secret that the running back market is just not what it once was and has been completely devalued. It's been nearly a decade since we've seen a team win a Super Bowl with a singular dominant running back. We've seen front offices decide it's best to go with multiple cheap bodies rather than just pay one superstar back. However, it's been reported that the Denver Broncos and Miami Dolphins have interest in the Pro Bowl running back, and I believe that list will grow throughout the next 48 hours. I'm going to talk about 4 landing spots I think would be a great fit for Dalvin Cook and why I think they should consider signing the veteran running back. Let's start off with the 2 I just mentioned. There's an obvious connection between the Miami Dolphins and Dalvin Cook, considering he's a Miami native. He played at Miami Central High School and is debatably the best running back in Florida State history. The Dolphins already have a talented, crowded running back room and realistically don't need to add another back, but every team could use a Dalvin Cook. Though his numbers have taken a dip, if you watch the tape, you can see that he's still one of the top running backs in the league. Miami has about $13 million in cap space to work with, which isn't a lot, but is enough to sign a veteran to this roster. Especially considering Cook is still set to make $2 million from the Vikings this season, so taking a cheaper prove-it deal isn't out of the question. This is already the fastest team in the NFL. Adding Dalvin Cook fits right in with their game plan, besides the fact they already have probably 3 running backs they plan to use this year. The Denver Broncos are on the opposite end of that spectrum as they just let go of multiple running backs from their roster, and their projected starter is coming off an ACL injury. They also have a lot less cap space after signing Frank Clark to a $5.5 million deal. Depending on how that deal is set up, the Broncos could be working with less than $6 million in cap space. Obviously, the Broncos are looking to rebound from a very bad 2022 season, and adding a talent like Dalvin Cook is exactly how you do that. Javonte Williams is coming off that torn ACL, and even when he's healthy, the depth is still kind of questionable. With Sean Payton in town, I'm sure Denver seems a lot more appealing than it did last year. Like I just mentioned with the Dolphins, Cook is making $2 million from the Vikings regardless of where he goes, so he could sign for a very cheap deal if he believes there's a real chance to win a Super Bowl. The New York Jets are obviously going all in for a Super Bowl as well. They've completely turned this offense around in the past 2 seasons with the additions of players like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and of course Aaron Rodgers. By knocking the draft process out of the park, the Jets are still able to have plenty of wiggle room to bring in key veterans. They currently are sitting with roughly $24 million in cap space, which is plenty to bring in Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall is recovering extremely well from his torn ACL and is expected to be back by week 1, but the Jets could look to add Dalvin Cook and take things a little safer with his recovery. I think the combination of Cook and Hall would immediately become the best 1-2 punch in the NFL too. The AFC East could be the toughest division in the NFL right now, and the AFC as a whole is obviously a gauntlet as well. Adding a weapon like Dalvin Cook to this roster could be exactly what the Jets need to complete their quest to win a Super Bowl. The last team I'm going to mention is the LA Chargers. They've been hesitant to extend Austin Eckler due to his inability to run in between the tackles and the declining running back market. This is a team that gave up a 27-point lead in the playoffs essentially because they just couldn't run out the clock. There's plenty of talent in the passing game, and I would argue they have plenty of defensive players to make a serious run too, but they're just too easy to game plan against right now without a real rushing attack. The Chargers have over $12.5 million in cap space, so there's really no reason not to bring in Dalvin Cook. He could legitimately be the last piece this team needs to be a serious contender in the AFC. He has the 2nd most scrimmage yards in the NFL over the past 4 seasons. Add him to a receiver core of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Quentin Johnson, and you have a real problem for defenses. On top of that, he's only 27 years old. He'll fit right in with the locker room, and I don't think it takes much convincing to move from Minnesota to LA. But let me know in the comments, who do you think Dalvin Cook will sign with? And if you're a football addict like I am, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more football related content. You can catch some of my other videos right here, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.